What up? It's me. You're in my closet. We're in the closet together. Got lots of drinks here just so that I can stay hydrated. Pretty much just closet activities. Got the La Croix. Sipping on that blackberry cucumber. First time I've tried that one. Respect. Welcome to the first vlog I've made in a while. If you know me, thanks for being here. If you don't know me, that's okay. I'm William. Nice to meet you. I decided to make this video because recently in my automated Google News feed, I keep getting stories from super random news sources about cringy Disney adult stories. And as a semi-Disney adult, it was kind of annoying. And I tend to be of the audience who says, let people enjoy themselves. Like, it's not up to you to dictate what other people may or may not be interested in. With that being said, I pulled a couple of articles that I thought were pretty crazy. Kind of got my gears grinding. I want to read some of these points to you that were in these articles that just kind of drove me nuts. So this first article is from the SF Gate. It is titled, "The Rude Guest Habit That's Ruining Disneyland Rides for Everyone Else." So this article was written by Katie Dowd, who's a managing editor for sfgate.com, which is a fairly large news reporting website focused on the Bay Area. The author is going to talk about how there should be certain etiquettes that should be expected from park visitors and recites her negative experiences. The first thing that she mentions is the Haunted Mansion ride. She's discussing how upset it makes her that people who also enjoy the ride have memorized this famous script and will recite it while they are riding along there in the Haunted Mansion. She exclaims, and I quote, "No one comes to Disneyland with a dream of hearing random strangers recite voiceovers." I gotta say, look, as somebody who formerly lived in Southern California for decades and has gone to Disneyland a shitload of times, I mean, man, this just doesn't happen that often. I mean, it happens. Of course it happens. But, to claim that every time you've been on the Haunted Mansion, somebody is reciting the voiceover word for word, spot on, which would be really impressive, to be honest, it's just a little crazy. And on top of that, the chances of you being stuck next to somebody who is reciting the lines louder than the actual volume that they have the ride set to is it's an insane thought to me. They are blasting the volume in there. It's a theme park ride. You're not really supposed to hear what's going on anywhere else. There's like a speaker attached to the car that you're in. There are speakers everywhere playing at full blast. They keep the cars 5 feet or more apart from everyone. I mean, and the cart is shaped, the dune buggy is shaped so that it's like a big shell so that you can't really even hear what's going on behind you or beside you. I think that claim that you can hear someone who knows every word of the script so well and so loud, it seems pretty bogus to me. Not to mention, if somebody was reciting the script at such an insanely audible level, I think they would probably send a cast member over to stop the ride. They stop that ride if they see somebody making out. Like, so you're telling me somebody is screaming the lines and nobody is stopping the ride for them? I don't know if I could ever actually truly imagine that. Also, just an honorable mention, and it deserves to be said, the Haunted Mansion soundtrack is a bop. It's so good. From the Paul Frees narrative, the spooky voice, to Madame Leota reciting her incantation to the Graveyard Jamboree. Who wouldn't sing along if you knew the words? This to me it's really giving, like, saying that if you go to a concert, like, you shouldn't sing along to the music. Even though that person also paid money to be there, you shouldn't sing along to the music. You should just shut up You're not paying to operate the entire park. You're not paying to rent the park. You're just there, enjoying the experience with everybody else. Obviously, I would not say to try to ruin everyone else's fun, but also, like, if it makes somebody happy, I really doubt you're gonna hear it. I really do, and you just don't need to worry about it. If you're going to a Disney park enough times to point out something like this and claim that it is annoying you, you've probably been there enough times that you also have enjoyed the ride without somebody doing that. So, I don't know. What are you really doing complaining? The author then moves on to mention the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. This one really got me. This quote from here, she says, "It's been years since I've enjoyed Pirates of the Caribbean in silence." I think that is the most insane quote I've seen in reference to a theme park experience. If you wanted absolute silence, go go to a theme park that gets 0 foot traffic, like on a weekday. Go to Disneyland on a weekday in the morning or something. Like, what do you complete silence? Complete silence. I don't think I've ever been on a theme park ride in complete silence anyway, let alone at Disneyland. For this reference, I'm talking Anaheim Disneyland, which averages 47,000 visitors a day, max capacity of 85,000 people a day. 2023 stats, that's 1.4 million people in a month, 17 and a quarter million people by the end of the year. If you were at Disney World, it basically triples, a little more, with an average of 159,000 visitors a day. That's 4.9 million visitors a month, 58.77 million in a year. If you're looking for silence, you probably should watch a movie at home or at a movie theater. And even then, if people talking on a ride is annoying you, you probably shouldn't go to a movie theater either. You know, the theme park is designed for children, teenagers, and ideally young adults. If you expect silence in a theme park, I think you might be preparing yourself for, like, really big disappointment. All right, so she then goes on to complain about an experience that she had while she was riding on the It's a Small World ride at Disneyland, in which a dad encourages his children to rock one of the small boats back and forth. I will give that one to her. I gotta say that is just annoying for anybody else sitting on that boat. That's the type of behavior, though, that I would assume that as soon as a cast member saw it on the cameras, they would probably come and kick you off of the ride. It's not only going to ruin your children's fun, but it's also going to set a terrible example. If you want to talk on a ride, like, sure, of course, go for it. But I think to physically disturb the ride experience is taking it to a different level. Now, I would say that can't even be pinned on Disney adults. Disney adults, like, are all about it. They're all there for the experience. They're not trying to ruin the experience. So I think that's more like a, bro dad gone wild. He's having too much fun. He had one too many drinks at the Star Wars cantina. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna lie. A trip to Disneyland probably costs more than most of the things in my house, maybe even your car. And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you how to enjoy it. So in conclusion, am gonna give this article a big fat 0. Really have a hard time agreeing with her on these points for the majority of this. And, if you happen to know every word to the Haunted Mansion ride, good for you. Fuck them. All right, let's keep it moving. We're on a roll here. So, this next article, man, it really knocked my socks off. This is from a website called Fodor's Travel. They have a pretty sizable following. So this article is from a series that they do called Hot Takes, in which they invite an expert to share their hottest takes about travel, hospitality, and more. The title of this Hot Takes piece is, "I'm a former Disney employee, and I think Disney adults are the worst." He claims that he was a former worker at the Disney Corporation's headquarters in Burbank, California. In this article, we're introduced to someone named James Wong. We don't really get any insight to what his actual job was at headquarters there in Burbank. Just the information is passed along that he was lucky enough to receive the perk of a silver pass, which gives him and his guests unlimited free entry to Disney parks, along with discounts within the theme parks, presumably, which is an insanely awesome perk for working at Disney. I figured that's probably limited. I don't know if they give that out to every single employee that works at Disney headquarters. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Maybe it's not a silver pass. I think that being able to bring your friends with you unlimited times to Disneyland for free is crazy. Like, dang. That's like hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So he really starts to piece out with a bang, okay? After mentioning his free unlimited park entry pass, he goes on to say that many employees would consider this pass the ultimate perk of working for Disney. But rather than think, lucky him, to quote, "I spent hours of idle queue time thinking how I'd rather just be paid more." First of all, it sounds like not every Disney employee gets the silver pass again. So I went and looked up the average salary for somebody working for Disney corporate, and while I can't be sure of his exact salary, it's probably on the higher end if he is entitled to the silver pass. According to Google, the average salary of somebody working at the Walt Disney Corporation is $91,688 a year, with a range between $57,000 to $144,000. To put more perspective on that, the average income of somebody in California is around $42,000. Even at the lowest pay rate at Disney Corporation, you're still making $15,000 more than the average California worker. On top of that, you get to work at Disney, which even if you didn't like Disneyland, like, it's still a pretty sweet place compared to, and no hate intended, but a fast food restaurant, a store, a retail chain market. So I just gotta say, if I were in my 20s, making $58K already, starting out, plus getting to go to Disneyland with my friends for free whenever I wanted, I'm not sure that my thoughts while in line at Disneyland would be, I just need to make more money. Insane take, in my opinion. Absolutely insane. He then goes on to say that over the years of working at the Walt Disney Company, he's encountered plenty of Disney adults, which he quotes as being one of the most hated groups on the internet. And I've seen videos of some cringy experiences. I mean, again, let people like things. So he says that, I love this part. In this piece, written entirely by him, he says, "I don't condone trolling." Even though this entire article is basically him trolling on Disney adults. So even though he doesn't condone trolling, there's a serious psychological issue when a grown adult is reduced to tears over the sight of someone in an animal costume. I don't know, man. What a way to reduce an individual's experience and emotions and the things that they hold near and dear to their heart. To me, this is like saying that somebody who cries at the same part of a movie they've seen 100 times is psychologically disturbed. Just because you don't care about something, James, like another person does, doesn't mean they have a psychological problem. And honestly, saying something like that makes you kind of sound like an asshole. He then ends this portion of the article by saying, "Perhaps it's because I've met the characters off duty. And let me tell you, it's far from magical." Yeah, dude. Yeah, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking with me? Obviously, if you fucking see the guy who's in the Goofy costume take off the fucking Goofy mask, it doesn't mean anything to you. Like, yeah, it's just a guy in a costume. That's not the point of an experience. Do I need to say more? As if bagging on the entire fandom wasn't enough for James, he then moves on to a family member. Despite using his presumed real name at the top of this article, he says, "Oh, I'm going to call this relative by a nickname. Let's call her Rapunzel," while also then proceeding to give her actual age, which is 47. And I mean, like, come on, dude, you're using your real name to write this article. as soon as it's shared by any member of your family, if your family member finds this article, she's obviously gonna know you're talking about her. Rapunzel apparently, according to James, throws down between $2,000 to $3,000 annually on a vacation to Disney World in Florida. Based on other averages, like for a week at Disneyland or Disney World, like that's pretty modest. He says this annual tradition is robbing Rapunzel of being able to travel outside of America. Until 2024, his family apparently was able to convince her to get her passport and go on a week-long trip to Europe in 2024 instead of to Disney World. To make it worse, it's during like Christmas time, so this presumably Christmas present that she gets for herself, maybe for her partner, her kids, I don't know, it doesn't say if she has any or not. So this annual trip that she has made a tradition of is now being put on hold because James and her family has guilted her into saying you should not go to Disney World and you should come with us. Big surprise here. She doesn't have a good time. James claims that she couldn't grasp that the world wasn't a plastic kingdom struggling to cope with non-ultra processed animal-shaped food akin to that which you would get at a Disney park. He also said something about how she got a migraine or a headache and whatever European brand of Tylenol that they had over there wasn't doing it for her, and so she threw a fit about feeling sick and just wanting to go home. I don't really care about that. I mean, I think that someone who is frustrated, doesn't feel well, and they're hundreds, if not thousands of miles away from home for the first time in their life I think that's probably pretty common or not really that out of the ordinary. Like, I think I've probably felt that way just going to the state next to where I live. What a piece of work James is. He then says that she must have something called Peter Pan syndrome, which is a term used by psychologists to describe an adult who is having a hard time adapting to adulthood. Now that's according to James, claiming that since being a Disney adult is so normalized that it must be an addiction. Can I just say that an addiction, per Google, is defined as a chronic relapsing disease characterized by compulsive substance use or behavior despite harmful consequences. None of which I believe is happening just by being a fan of Disney. Like, it's not causing any of that. And to just toss the word addiction around like candy is super negative. It's super immature. It's really mean. I mean, dude, people spend thousands of dollars a year on way worse things. I mean, cars, guns, video games, actual drugs, alcohol, fast food, prostitution. I mean, I think you may need to reprioritize where being a Disney adult falls on your graph of vices if you think that this is an addiction that's ruining her life. Not to mention, to be able to save and set aside $3,000 annually to make sure that you get to do this trip, like that's a pretty mature thing to do. I don't think very many kids would be thinking about that. I think that's a very adult and mature thing to focus on if that's what you want to do. It's your money. He ends this portion by saying the Lurve and Big Ben are no match for a Dumbo carousel. Rapunzel is forever 9 years old and has no plans to enter puberty. I don't even know what to say about that line right there. That is, say you hate your family member without saying you hate them. If this was my family member, I wouldn't really want to go on a trip to Europe with you. Like, you sound like you're a piece of shit, James. He then gets into why Disney adults, in his opinion, are ruining all travel. and all tourism in general, as if tourists didn't already have a bad rap when they visit another country. Dude, people are gonna talk smack about you if you're a tourist. In this last point that he's saying about tourism, he makes a point that I do limitedly agree with. He says tourists nowadays would rather spend their money at a foreign Starbucks or McDonald's instead of trying to find a local eatery, which totally a fair point. I think that is probably true, but I'm not sure if that's really because they're disrespectful Disney adults, but more so, you know, maybe they can't read the local signage because they don't speak the language. They can't navigate the region as well because they don't speak the language and it's the first time they've been somewhere. And also, like, if you're traveling alone, being in a new place that's foreign can be daunting and sometimes frightening if you don't know an area well or if you don't know if it's safe. But he immediately loses me really fast again by following that up while saying, while this phenomenon isn't all Disney adults, I can say with confidence that it's a significant portion of them. Like, just pure speculation. There's no source given. There's no, hey, here's this travel article that did a study on tourism and if they're Disney fans. Just a totally unbased claim. In conclusion, he says that he'd love to see the Disney adult stereotype be shaken. I don't even really know what that means. He then says, sure, escapism is bliss, but outside of that, I hope Disney adults, like Rapunzel, can accept growing up as a part of life. And right there, he's just right back to it. Just a big fat hater, James. No one is saying that you have to do any of these things. No one is saying that you have to go to Disney. No one says you have to be a fan of a theme park. Nobody says that about anyone's hobbies or their favorite thing. Where do you get off? And how self-righteous are you that you feel justified in your judgment? Like, dude, just let people enjoy things. And, you know, you can obviously have those negative thoughts. I mean, I'm out here critiquing James's negative thoughts, but if they're that judgmental, if they're that mean, and you're gonna hurt somebody's feelings by saying this stuff, you don't have to vocalize it. You can just keep that to yourself and have that opinion and just not interact with your family member that you think is crazy. You don't have to start fights. You don't have to judge them. You don't have to just go in on them and write anonymous articles. Like, why are you writing anonymous articles about your family member? That's crazy. I genuinely can't believe he wrote this like as an anonymous article. Well, he's not anonymous. I can't believe he wrote this article and then used his real name and insulted his anonymous family member. Anyway, let people enjoy things. You don't have to vocalize your negative thoughts if somebody is doing something that isn't harming themselves or others around them. Period. That's it for this video. So, in conclusion, leave the Disney adults alone, man. If somebody wants to cry when they're hugging Mickey Mouse and they're 45 years old, like, dude, that doesn't affect you. Like, as long as you're not getting in fights, and as long as you're not destroying your entire experience, Disney adults are there for the experience. They're not there to destroy your experience, too. Like, if seeing a grown adult cry offends you, I think you should probably go talk to a therapist, do some soul searching, figure yourself out, because maybe you need to go hug Mickey Mouse and have a good cry about that. Let me know in the comments if you really hate Disney adults or if you get it and you just like to make fun of people. Also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and let me know in a comment below what I should overanalyze next. Thanks.